Welcome to Oregon Voters Digest, the program that brings forward the social and political issues that are important to people living here in the Pacific Northwest. And now, your host, Bruce Brussard.
Welcome again to this community show today. Again, Oregon Voters Digest. You know who we are. We got to jump right into our act today. We got candidates to interview, and we want to make sure we get those interviews in. Very important time right now. We got a new form of government. We got all kinds of issues. So, hey, John, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
Things looking good, John.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good job, by the way, so far.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. It's been a pleasure co-hosting. We're learning a lot about the city together.
Well, you're looking good, buddy. You know, they all look alike, you and I.
Yes, yes.
Hey, look, why don't we just go on and get right into the deal? What do we have today?
Okay, well, hi, folks. This is John Toran here again. First thing I wanted to do was acknowledge that it is Groundhog's Day today.
Groundhog's Day.
Yes.
Okay.
What's his name? Puxatani. Puxatani Phil.
It looked like he had a little weight or something.
I think so. So COVID-15 or whatever they say.
Well, we're getting sun here in the Pacific Northwest. You notice that?
Puxatani Phil got sun today too.
Awesome.
What it looks like, according to Puxatani, is we're going to have an early spring.
Oh, early spring.
Yes.
Oh, nice here, but not in L.A.
I guess they're getting a lot of rain this week.
A lot of rain,
Like
floods.
3 inches in one day.
It's a crazy time.
I don't think they're set up for that.
Oh, wow. It's really something else.
Probably going to see some landslides and things like that in the aftermath.
Yeah. Well, I know that you've got a number of guests on today. We got a number of guests on today, so we're just going to be kind of short right now. We got one sitting and waiting. Right from the community. This guy is hot too.
I'm excited to have Moses Rice. Moses Ross is coming in here today.
Okay,
he's a leader in Multnomah Village. But before we jump into the candidates,
sure, good on real quickly.
Black History Month started.
That's
month.
Exactly. Well, I might add right before we don't forget about the piece. We're going to do another piece on that deal. I'm gonna don my Buffalo Soldier uniform.
Okay, that's always a good time to
talk
do
a little bit about that piece aspect of it, and we got quite an event on that particular line. Okay.
So I did want to give a shout out to Portland Art Museum.
Okay.
They kicked off Black History Month by having an admission-free show. Right now, the focus is on Black history.
Mm-hmm.
So they have art from both Africa and the United States. 2 floors worth of displays. I know normally they charge an admission for it, but the event goes until, I believe, February 17th, and they will be having another free day. So I highly recommend to our viewers, if you want to if you have a chance to go out to Portland Art Museum, please give them some support and go check out one of the
if you have that date, that information, maybe next time around we can highlight it.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
And then you wanted to recognize a couple of birthdays here.
For
Black History Month. You didn't put those away yet, did you?
You know, they're right here. How about former President Abraham Lincoln?
When was his birthday?
How about February 12th, 1809?
Okay.
And then we've got Frederick Douglass, February 14th.
That's Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that's right, buddy. Frederick Douglass. How about that?
I like that.
He was quite a guy, they tell me.
Yes.
And naturally, Dr. King was January 15th.
Yes.
And you know, we're thinking about the possibility of putting something together in the future here in our market here, place aspect of it, putting on a banquet and recognizing those entities all in one, so to speak, and talking about those issues.
And you know, the other significance of February 14th is it's the birthday of Oregon.
Oregon, wow!
Yeah, it's Oregon's birthday.
That's what I'm saying. We've picked a very neat time aspect of it, and the history there of those individuals. When you start thinking about diversity and the whole idea of it, I mean that was the era that it was introduced. When you think about it, because you had the Civil War during that situation. Lincoln was the one that basically, all due respect, he basically introduced the whole issue to begin with, and I thought that was a very interesting piece. So we're going to probably put something up to really recognize that in the future.
Okay.
And then this week we're going to do a very short version of the rumor section. Latest rumor or fact here is that Dan Ryan is officially in the race for Portland City Council in District 2. He's a resident of Arbor Lodge neighborhood. He got his position when he defeated former Multnomah County Commissioner Loretta Smith in the 2020 special election to replace Nick Fish. Ryan was reelected in the spring of 2022.
but it was only for a 2-year term since we have this new form of government in place. So his name recognition and previous fundraising success makes him a pretty big fish getting into the District 2 race. Jennifer Parks, a program director for the Shadow Project, has also gotten to the race, and Tiffany Pinson, a people and cultural manager of the city of Portland, has also gotten in the race. So it's shaping up to be a pretty competitive race over there. Sam Adams is looming. He lives in the district. There are rumors that he's going to be running in District 2. We are going to have one of the candidates from District 2 on here today in the commission, or he might be running for city council.
Okay.
And so we had Debbie Kitchen on last week from District 2 also. So that looks like that's going to be competitive.
And let me mention before you get into that particular piece is that, and it is a concern. And the fact of the matter is that, as you're saying, some of these folks are well known, but we're not looking for leadership in the well known arena. We're looking for leadership who are people who have the background, who are familiar with solutions to the problems that we're having.
Well, the status quo has gotten us here.
But you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Because it is an issue from the standpoint of a lot of these guys, all the commissioners are running. We got 3 of them running for mayor.
And I'm going to save this rumor until next week. I've got a pretty tasty rumor. I'm going to wait until Rubio's campaign kickoff goes and see how that develops before I drop this rumor.
But she's having a kickoff party.
I believe it was either yesterday or today. And then we also had the first person drop out of the race. Joseph Emerson in District 2 his family is expecting twins now. So he has decided to get out of the race. And then over in District 4, we've got some new entrants into the race. Eric Zimmerman, the chief of staff to Julia Brim Edwards, has joined the race. That was as of this morning. Bob Weinstein, the former 4-term mayor of Ketchikan, Alaska. Have you ever heard of Ketchikan, Alaska?
Ketchikan.
Have you heard of that before?
Yeah.
You been there?
Yeah. A little fishing.
Oh, really?
Good fishing.
He's an exciting addition to the race. And then we've got another Army veteran that got into the race, Mitch Green.
Green.
Yes, he's an energy economist and a former Army veteran. And then
what district?
District 4.
Okay.
And then also in District 4, we have a environmental justice advocate, Andre Vlatovin. Has intent to run. And then I think last week we mentioned that Cale Turn is going to be in the race in District 1. He has run before for, I believe, the state, the legislature. But he brings a Southeast Asian flavor to the race, and that's very exciting. But that wraps up kind of the rumor section for now.
Portland, you think we might hit that 100 participant number?
Well, right now we officially have 45 council
45.
candidates.
That's including the mayors and
we have 4 mayoral candidates.
Auditors,
and only 1 candidate for the auditor
now. For right now. Okay, so we still have time. What's that time deadline?
So I believe the first time you could, right now, everybody's just filing notice of intent. To officially file for the race. I believe that it opens up like on June 1st or June 5th.
For the race. Okay, good.
Yeah.
And the last day for filing? I'm already hitting you on
all the hard questions. I think it's either late August or early September.
Okay,
I think.
So remember that now. I mean, share these shows if you will, and at the same time, if anybody else is interested in solving the issues that we're having here in the city, you have the opportunity to run.
Well, I mean, I think I'm really excited for our first guest here today. He's got some going to be sharing with us at least one solution that.
Well, let's bring him on. Can we bring him on?
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely. Let's bring him on. Here you are, sir. Again, this is community television, so you notice we don't have to worry about the stop up. We got him right here. There we go.
Thank you, sir.
You're right there.
Grab that for me.
Thank you.
There you go.
All
Your
right,
notes.
have a seat.
Sweet.
John.
Hey, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hi. How you doing?
Well, thank you.
I love Multnomah Village pen. I went out to one of your neighborhood association meetings. I picked one of those up also. Really excited about that.
You know, and I'm glad that you picked up on that button, because what I'm feeling about the city right now is a lack of pride of where we live. a loss of pride. And admittedly, that's one of the reasons I'm in this race.
Okay.
Is because I want to reestablish that sense of unique community that Portland has been proud of for decades. And it feels like to me that we have lost that over the last decade or so. And, you know, and it just was exacerbated with the pandemic and the recent events.
Yeah, I feel like we are getting a lot of negative headlines, you know, and you know, before we had such a positive reputation throughout the world, and people came to Portland to like learn things about planning, bicycle use, things like that. Now, every time I see us in the national newspaper, it's for something crazy.
Right, and a lot of that is just the popular theme or the meme by the media, I believe. You know, that this demonization of our beautiful city. And it's because it's just an easy hit. When in actuality, you know, you go downtown on a weekend night and you're fine. It's wonderful down there. There's lights. It's rebounding, and people have. But unfortunately, the press and just our perceptions have been skewed about what's really happening on the ground. And we are improving, but we have work to do. That, to me, is so important. We have work to do to revitalize our city of Portland. And it's going to take all of us. It's not going to, you know, you can't depend on me or any of these other candidates to have that ultimate solution to, you know, just fix the problem. This is going to take some time. But I think it starts fundamentally on the grassroots neighborhood level to reestablish that sense of pride in our community. And so that's really one of my biggest focuses here, is re-involving our citizens, re-involving the neighborhoods, re-involving the residents.
Nice.
And bringing them into this. Right now, I mean, is there any wonder that they have voted for this new form of government? They're feeling disrespected and unheard by our current form of government, our current commissioners and our current city attitudes. And that goes against the whole reason why the neighborhood associations have this unique place. We're given this unique place in our governmental structure. They were meant to be the conduit, the communication conduit from the ground, from the neighborhoods, from the families, the residents, up to the city.
Well, this is good and this is important. Can you share with the viewers a little bit about your background so they can get some proper
As you can tell, I
context?
get really passionate about this issue because it's just, I've lived in Portland since 1989. I came up here as a young man at the age of 21 and to establish myself. And
Where'd you move from?
I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah. I graduated from high school from a small town in Wyoming. And
cheap gas. That's all I know about
that's,
Wyoming.
you know, it is. That's one of their reputations. But I felt like it was time I wanted to move into the big city, if you will. And originally I was going to go up to Seattle, but then I moved to Portland and I just fell in love with Portland. And, you know, in 89, 90, we were just beginning to get this public attitude of anything was possible in Portland. You know, it was progressive. They had good ideas, you know, and we could do anything. We could tackle anything. I remember very fondly the community outpouring and support for the work that they did during the floods in 97, 96 with Vera Katz and her strong leadership. You know, everybody rallied and we got together and we built those barriers downtown to stop the water from the Willamette River flowing into downtown, and we prevented it, you know, and we did it. And, you know, this is just one example of how the community, if given the opportunity, they will come and participate in this revitalization. And you know, quite frankly, I venture to say this whole race is the beginning of it. I mean, you were mentioning earlier, there's potentially maybe 100 candidates into this race. What an amazing opportunity.
Absolutely.
What an amazing opportunity to get unique, actual perspectives from people that live in Portland and not limit it to a few people.
Or just people that can write big checks and therefore they get listened to.
Oh, very much so. And that's another topic I'm passionate about, is how campaign finance reform is affecting this race. I'll share this with you. The whole idea behind campaign finance reform and the current system that we're running, this election is being run under, is meant to, in essence, make you as a candidate go out and talk to voters. Because there's no difference now, because of the maximum contribution limits. There's no difference between my neighbor and a developer in the Pearl. Mm-hmm. Whereas before this system, that developer could write a $4 or $5 check to a candidate. And it's impossible to not feel endeared to a contributor that writes you a 4 to 5 digit check. It's
Absolutely.
Impossible.
Yeah.
You're going to listen to them first. Mm-hmm. But because of the maximums here of 350, I realized that everybody puts their pants on the same way. Mm-hmm. And fundamentally we're all the same. We're all citizens of Portland, and every opinion has equal weight and value. Mm-hmm. And so I'm enjoying the heck out of making the phone calls, talking to voters, and talking to a diverse variety of voters, not just the business interests that can fund my campaign, but the voters that can fund my campaign. And
Yeah, and then, just so the viewers know, the city, with the small donors program, the city is offering up to a 9-to-1 match. Mm. So even like a $5 donation, can amount to, like $100, $100.
Right, 9 times.
Yeah.
That'd be $45. $5 would be a $45 total contribution. Or it'd be matched 9-to-1, so it'd be equivalent to $50. A $20 goes. The way that this works is that the first up to the first 20 is matched 9-to-1 by the city. Now they've been trying to reduce the amount of money available. They've recently reduced the budget for the small donor program.
About a 60% cut to payouts, right?
That irritates the heck out of me that they even touched that money and reduced it, because I just find it ironic. They can find money to fund all sorts of little pet projects, but all of a sudden they can't fund democracy. Fundamentally, that's what we're talking about.
Right.
And so let's put it this way. When I'm in the city council, it'll be fully funded. I mean, and bring on as many candidates as possible. Not every single candidate that is filed, John, is going to be able to get those 250 matching contributions. And so that will be kind of the defining level of credibility.
Yeah.
And so I'm not worried about the volume. I think it's great. I mean, we as voters get an opportunity to learn perspectives that we would not have heard.
Mm-hmm. And as candidates also.
Absolutely.
And as candidates.
And, because it's a top 3, it's there's a real motivation for me to stay in good terms and collaborate with the other candidates.
Absolutely.
Because quite honestly, I want the number 2 and number 3 votes from their supporters. Mm-hmm. So there's not going to be, you're not going to see negativity on the campaign trail because of that.
Well, I hope not.
And it's unnecessary. Mm-hmm. It's completely unnecessary, because it goes against why we're doing this and what our goal here is. And our goal here is to revitalize Portland. At least that's my goal.
Mine too.
Everyone I hear, they always say the same things: homelessness, drugs, addiction, services,
and public safety.
And what I think the bigger umbrella is livability. Mm-hmm. The livability of our beautiful neighborhoods in our beautiful city. is it, and that's, to me, is the biggest difference. I mean, one of the first things I will do, and I know you're going to ask me this, I'm just going to say it right now.
Yeah, I was queuing it up.
I mean, the first thing I want to do is I want to get a citywide program going to pick up the trash and to clean up the graffiti.
Nice.
I mean, we have to get back to a fundamental foundation. It's the broken window theory. If we clean it and it gets dirty and they graffiti, they tag it again, we clean it up again until they finally begin to realize, oh, maybe this isn't as productive as we want it to be, the taggers do. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the trash. It's reestablishing that sense of pride in our beautiful community. It's, the City of Roses, man. And the added benefit of that is that if we make a concerted effort at the city level to work with our community partners, to work with our community-based organizations that we already have relationships with.
Like neighborhood associations?
Associations. I mean, we can do this, and we can do it now. Mm-hmm. I mean, right now in Multnomah, we've started graffiti and trash abatement programs, and we are working with the local businesses to clean the tags off their building.
How's turnout been for that program?
Fantastic. Volunteers are just waiting to be asked. People are waiting to be asked to help contribute to help revitalize Portland. For all the bad mouthing that people have and the media perpetuating that whole theme of, what's wrong with Portland. No, the people that live here know. We love this city. We love this city, and we want the best for our city, because we live here. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's a untapped energy source.
Excellent.
For us in this campaign, and for me in this campaign, I feel. And if we can reestablish the sense of pride back into Portland that people have, I mean, that's why we're here. If we can reestablish this, we can take on any of these challenges that we've got.
Sweet. Well, thanks for coming in and sharing with us.
Absolutely.
And good luck out there on the campaign trail.
Oh, and I wouldn't be a candidate worth my salt if I didn't mention, you can go to my website, moses4pdx.com. Oh, hey, there you go. Perfect.
We got a graphic made for you.
We got a graphic already. Go check out my site, learn more about the issues that I'm passionate about. $20, anywhere from a $5 to 20s match 9-to-1. I'd be very grateful. And let's get started. Let's revitalize Portland, man.
All right, and we'll work on getting you back on the show sometime. Follow up.
I can't wait.
See how things are going for you on the trail.
I will say this: I am so appreciative. I'll have to admit, and I know that Bruce is in the background, but I want to say this publicly. I've lived here long enough to have watched the Oregon Voter Digest for decades.
Nice.
A decade or two plus.
Yeah.
And Bruce Brussard, I tip my hat to you, sir. Thank you for that community service.
Community icon.
Oh,
I'm really happy to be sharing the stage with him.
Yeah, what an awesome opportunity for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so good stuff.
Okay, and now we have Nathan Vasquez.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Nathan Vasquez is a candidate for district attorney, currently a senior district attorney, but I'll let him explain his position to you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate being here.
All right. And so did I get your title right? Are you senior district attorney? Is that what?
Yeah, it's a senior deputy district attorney, but you've got it.
Okay, excellent.
Absolutely.
And I do have a couple questions for you, but how long have you been doing that for?
Well, I have been very fortunate, and first I want to just start off by saying thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate the opportunity to chat and have these conversations. But yeah, about me, I have been a deputy district attorney for over 23. I'm in my 24th year.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I started as an intern in the Multnomah County DA's office in 2000.
Okay. I'm sure a lot of your classmates from law school went private sector and are making a ton of money doing it. What was why did you decide to go into public service?
Yeah. For me, it actually kind of goes back to my childhood. I was very fortunate. I grew up in a small town in Northern California, but I had, I think like many people, we have someone in our life that is a huge figure and that kind of was very impactful on me, and that was my grandfather. And my grandfather, William Vasquez, was an immigrant from Mexico, and he was pushed out by the Mexican Revolution of all things, and he immigrated, and his family, he grew up on the streets of San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
And he actually sold newspapers on the streets of San Francisco. He ended up putting himself through medical school at UC Berkeley.
Wow.
And became a doctor.
Okay.
And so when I was growing up as a kid, I would go visit him, and we would stay, at my grandparents' house. And I was always struck by the fact that people would be coming in kind of at night or on the weekends and coming in through the side door. And I was always, as a young child, kind of wondering about that until I got old enough to realize that he was a doctor all the time. He was a community doctor, and he saw patients on weekends and nights. He spoke Spanish, so he was very popular with the immigrant community. And so oftentimes he would get paid in chickens and eggs and things. But it was because he was an individual that he served families from birth, all the way through surgery and at the end of their life. And so he was that true kind of family community doctor, and he really just always believed in serving the community. And for me, that was really important. And he was always a big figure in my life, and I was very fortunate. He paid for my college. But he told me very clearly, he said, I never want you to pay this back to me. I want you to pay this forward.
Awesome.
And so I've always had in my kind of heart that this desire to serve.
Excellent. My mother spent the big bulk of her career working in public service also. Mm-hmm. And so I, naturally just got a chance to observe it. And so I've heard her speak about that also. My family comes from a background of entrepreneurs that serve the Black community here. Mm-hmm. And so she's, in her second half of her career, she's used that to give back in the nonprofit world. Oh. And I am also a big fan of Mexican culture. I've been to Mexico 10 times. My longest trip of all time was a total of 1 year, where I hitchhiked from San Francisco down to Guatemala. Wow. But I did spend 6 months in Mexico. So
that sounds like an amazing trip.
It was. And so I've been to all the states along the Pacific, mm-hmm. and I'd probably say my favorite's Guadalajara. But,
okay. Yeah.
So in following Twitter this week, I did notice that you picked up some new endorsements.
I did. Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about those endorsements and which ones you're most excited about?
Well, I've been very fortunate with endorsements, and I'm very excited. My very first kind of endorsement, actually out of the gates, was the Portland Firefighters Union, and I was, they have been very enthusiastic about their support, and I was very appreciative of it. But I think what you're talking about is one that's very near and dear to my heart, which is the Multnomah County District Attorneys Union. So the attorneys that work in my office, they have chosen to endorse me, and that was, for me personally, these are the men and women and the folks that I serve with, and that see kind of the ins and outs and the operations of the office every day. And so we had an opportunity, myself, I did a candidate forum with them. They also spoke with the currently elected district attorney, and after hearing from both of us, they chose to endorse me.
Wow, congratulations. Yeah. That's got to mean a lot when your peers get to see the work that you do every day. And most people don't really have a lot of experience with interacting with lawyers, mm-hmm. and understand the actual work that's involved. And so it shows a lot that you get respect from people that understand the fundamentals of the process of being an attorney, versus just going out and being a candidate. And
the other big endorsement I had here recently was that the transit union endorsed me as well. So these are your bus drivers, both for TriMet, for school buses, for C-Trans. The ATU also selected to endorse me, which for me was another big one, and I was really excited about that. I had an opportunity to meet with them. Certainly have talked about kind of the the challenges that they have faced when it comes to public safety. These are some of our the hardest working individuals in our community because they are frontline out there providing such a vital service to our community. And I was very happy to get their endorsement.
Okay. Is there off the top of your head, and this is totally, if I were going to ask a question to a city council candidate about like a piece of legislation that could help make your job as a future district attorney easier, anything off the top of your head that we as Portland City Council could help
Well, I think one of the things that we are currently working towards, and what I have been talking a lot about out in the community, is bringing back our community courts. In the city of Portland and in Multnomah County, we have a long, wonderful history of community courts, and this was a process where we had individuals who had kind of smaller misdemeanor crimes. They would come in and have an opportunity to do community service and then get their case dismissed. So it was just a wonderful combination of accountability but compassion together. And in the past, a lot of those courts and those activities were really funded with a cooperative effort with the city of Portland. And so that's something that I would love to see Portland City Council get back involved with, reinvest with, and give an opportunity to really kind of bring about partnership with our city leaders in a way that can help promote public safety, and that can also do it in a way that I think really delivers on what Portland is looking for, which is we want accountability, but we also want to be compassionate.
Excellent. And do we have a municipal court in the past?
Yeah, and so this is what we call the community court. And in the past, so we had this for actually years and years. This started, I believe, back in the kind of either in the 1990s or in the 2000s, and it was a national leading program. People came from all over the country to come and see these court systems, and it was really it was something that we had both out directly in the community. We had them in North Portland, we had them in Southeast, we had them in downtown, we had them out in Gresham. And so we've had that program for years and years, and unfortunately, under the current administration, that went away, and due in large part to the COVID pandemic, but there's been really no effort to bring that back, and it's just not been a priority, and it needs to be. It's one that I think will really benefit our community. I'm
going to take some time to learn a little bit more about that. I do know that, at least in Multnomah County, there is a shortage of defense attorneys. Mm-hmm. Would adding another court make that worse, or is that something unique to Multnomah County?
Well, so when we talk about the defense attorneys, there was a recent change in the Oregon State Legislature. They're the ones that kind of, when you talk about how we structure our public defense system, it starts there. And so they restructured it, and that has caused some issues in how we deliver public defense. And so that's being worked on, and I know the state legislature actually added a lot of funding to that. And so what we have seen is we've seen some improvements in the areas of misdemeanors. Where we're still struggling a lot is seeing the cases when it comes to felony property crimes. I think that's an area that needs a lot of attention, and it needs to be one that we see work on to improve, to get us to a healthy state, because quite frankly, for a functioning criminal justice system, we need to have prosecutors who are doing their job, and we need to have a healthy system that is funded for our public defenders as well, so that we can adequately represent people and we can process those cases. And really, in the end, it's about delivering justice to the community, making sure that people's rights are fully protected, and again, just having that healthy functioning system. Community court, what the nice thing about that is it's actually a very efficient way to process cases through, and it's done in a manner where you can have defense attorneys take these cases on. It doesn't create a massive burden on the system, and we were very successful for, like I said, we were talking about 20 years of doing this, and we would process through sometimes 4,000 more cases a year, and we had no problems doing it. And so I really believe this would be a great way to deal with cases. And again, one of the huge benefits of community court is you really connect individuals that may be struggling in the community with services such as drug treatment, mental health treatment. They can do community service. and they can get their case dismissed, but it's done in a way that really does promote accountability and combine that with compassion.
Excellent. Well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you have anything else you wanted to share with our viewers? I think we do have your website. There it is.
Perfect.
For Vasquez, you can. Our viewers can find out more about his platform there.
Absolutely. I mean, certainly, I think we could talk for hours on the various issues that are out there, and I'm always happy to kind of engage with folks about this. You know, one of the biggest things that I would say is that this is where experience really matters in doing this particular job. I have spent over 2 decades doing it. I've worked in every different kind of facet of the criminal justice system when it comes to doing criminal prosecutions. And I think right now our community really deserves and needs better public safety than what we're getting. And so when we look at that, I see a lot of opportunity. And when we compare, when you look at my record and the years of service, what you're going to see is someone who's been dedicated to this community and done the work. You know, everything from small cases up to murder cases. You know, on the other side, I think that's lacking, and that's kind of some of the problems we've seen, is that the current district attorney just simply hasn't done this job. Not to the level, not to the way I've done it. He's never handled a murder case, surprisingly. He's never handled a robbery case that went to trial. He's never handled any of the kind of bigger cases that you would hope and expect that a leader of such a big organization would do. And so, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, again, I'll just say, experience really does matter, and I look forward to really kind of delivering both that accountability and compassion to our community and getting us back on track.
All right, folks, that's Nathan Vasquez. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Really appreciate it.
Likewise. Okay.
Thank you
Very good interview there. We're going to bring Bruce back on. Thank you guys.
While he's still sitting here, I'll come on with just
Yeah?
a little piece while waiting for that deal. And we'll get a photo because it's
Okay,
Black History
yeah,
Month.
That's right, absolutely.
Why don't you just stand up here and get a picture of us, really? Okay, good.
Oh, I got Mike here too.
Hey, good. Yeah, I'm going to have him take care of pictures of us.
There we go.
I can text this to you if you
Oh
like.
yeah, that's great too.
Good,
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Well, we'll just
Can
do
you
that.
send me your top thing again? I didn't save it last time.
Which? Oh,
What
my.
is that?
Oh, this right here. I've got that one.
Yep.
There you go. Let's see. There it is. Yeah, if you just tap that,
There we go.
Cool.
do it. Yeah.
Good. This is community television, you know.
Yeah,
And
there
so
you go.
the bottom line, we want to make sure that you're getting out the community aspect of it, and really, as one would say, the old KISS adage, right? Remember that one?
Yes.
Keep it simple, whatever. And you've done that. You did a
Good.
great job on that piece.
Perfect.
And then that's really what we appreciate, because a lot of times we are very concerned about the voters per se. It's all in a commercial kind of a deal. We want to get it to them.
Yes.
Because this is about community.
Absolutely.
And that's what you represent, and so we really really
Good.
appreciate that you came on with it.
Perfect.
Okay,
All right.
fine.
Well, you let me know. I'm always happy to come and chat more.
All right,
All right.
well, you're a good friend. You got to be a good guy, because my dad's name was Nathan.
We are
Right.
hoping to put together a law enforcement focused show.
Great.
Yes.
And so it would be kind of the same format, and touch
Awesome.
bases with your campaign manager and let you know what we're thinking. And if you've got time for it, we'd love to have you.
I will make the time.
Yes.
So you let me know.
I'll be
All right,
right back.
thank you.
All right.
Okay, folks, I guess it's just me here. We're going to just go through what's going on a little bit. Another big thing that we are trending in the news today is, let's see, what do we have here? Apollo Creed. Carl Weathers passed away today, so I wanted to give a little moment of silence for the late great Apollo Creed. Also was on The Mandalorian, and my favorite Rocky film probably was Rocky 3. Was that the one with Ivan Drago?
Yeah. Is that what?
The one with Ivan Drago. I was talking to the viewers about Carl Weathers passing away today.
Okay. Oh,
You know,
okay.
he played Apollo Creed in the
okay.
Rocky movies.
Oh, yes.
And so I was trying to figure out which Rocky movie was my favorite. I was a big fan of Rocky 3. I think that's the one where he fought the Russian. And then James Brown did the lead song on that. Remember that one? Living
Yes.
in America?
Yes.
That was a good one.
Okay, we're we're still on.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, we're still on.
I know.
Well, this is community television. We're waiting for another candidate, so this is good. So we can kind of like talk about some other things that we've been doing here, and there are other candidates. We're going to be interviewing more candidates.
Yes.
We're going to try to get as many candidates as we can, and for the viewing audience, we'll let you know that we're reaching out to all candidates.
Yes,
all
we do.
Candidates.
We get some candidates scheduled. Not all of them come,
right.
But we do reach out to all candidates. If there are any candidates that are watching this, please reach out. You can reach me at jt@friendsofjohntoran.com. And I can work on scheduling you on one of our Meet the Candidate shows.
Okay. Is there a phone number or something?
Let's do email for now.
Email, what's the email?
jt@friendsofjohntoran.com.
Okay, now, very important, folks, because we really want to get these folks who basically are saying they want to represent the community.
Absolutely.
And the definition of candidates, you got to remember this too. A lot of times we look at politicians, they never tell you the definition of a politician, as if they've created the issues and whatever, so they really don't represent the community or the people. But realistically, they're supposed to they're employees, if you will.
They should talk to the community first. You know, people lead with their platform, and they don't talk to the people first. And I think that's why there's such a big disconnect.
Yeah.
Where you've got the city that, the administration of the city is so detached from what the people want. Mm-hmm. You go to these city meetings and they're like, oh, we're going to do this and this and this. And then all the people are like, well, we don't want any of this.
Well, as we've said many times on the show, this is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Mm-hmm. And elected officials actually represent and take the message, if you will, of a policy as towards implementation. Got me? But the people are in charge. Mm-hmm. The people are in charge. It's not the politician. You got to remember that, because too often we tend to forget that.
Yeah.
But that's why we keep pounding on that piece, because it's so important now that here within the city of Portland and elsewhere, for that matter, we got the county. People can talk. What's the difference between a county and a city, and what's their function and whatever. To give you an example, if you will, they're constantly talking about the idea. Well, the county and the city should be working together. Well, they are working together. The system is there. Mm-hmm. Take, for instance, if you will, the person who causes a crime or something like that. Well, the first thing that happens, the person is apprehended by the Portland police, the city Portland police.
Yes.
And then they're taken to the county jail,
yes,
which is the county. Mm-hmm. Okay, got me? Mm-hmm. And when they go before the judge, they have to go through the DA.
Right.
The gentleman that we just presented. And then after they get through going through the DA, he schedules them to go before the people again.
Yeah, and that is a really compelling race that's coming up here, and I'm really excited to see how that campaign develops, because you've heard me speak a lot about outcomes versus ideology. Yeah. And this is exactly what battle we have shaping up. We have 23-year grinder, that's been trying the hardest cases in the city. Those are outcomes.
Yeah.
Those are flat out. He's getting restitution for victims. He's punishing setting up the punishment for the bad guys. Advocating on behalf of the victims. He's doing all of that stuff, versus the current district attorney that has some ideological ideas about how the criminal justice system should work. So things like no bail. That's one of the big policies that he's pushed. So it's going to be real interesting to see how the voters weigh. Because the choice is very clear. Outcomes with Vasquez, ideology with Schmidt, and I'm really curious to see how the voters.
Well, but in addition to that, still it gets down to that bottom line. We're as far as the voting public or the residential person who's paying the bill, if you will. There's the right, if you will, of anybody that commits a crime. And that's it. And you've got a process to go through that process aspect of it. Now, if the other entity has different ideas, there has to be a definition as to how he came up with that.
Yeah.
If he's sitting in the seat.
Well,
and whether or not it was introduced, if you will, to the public.
I've invited Mike Schmidt to come on the show.
Has he been? Has he come?
I have not gotten any response back, but I would love to. I'd love.
Well, we're here on live TV, so folks, if you're supporting Mr. Schmidt, attorneys, the DA, well, hey, just tell him to give us a call.
Yeah.
I mean, he should be given the opportunity because he's sitting in the seat.
Absolutely.
He's sitting in the seat. And too often, a lot of times, they're doing their jobs and there might be some difficulties, this, that, and the other. And he might have suggested that, but he probably had to go through, if you will, the commissioners.
Yeah, well,
county commissioners, if you will.
No decisions ever made in isolation. There's always context, to any situation. And so...
but it's so easy in a political kind of a forum, if you will, to put it in that text.
Right.
But we don't. So
that's why we invite him on the show.
That's why we're sharing it.
Is so that he can give us the context.
That's why we're sharing it. I mean, and hey, I like the idea that one person might get more support than another in a different deal. The issue that we're interested in, we got issues on the table.
Yeah.
And we want to solve them.
And then it's important for our city council candidates also. That's one of the reasons why we mix the different type of candidates in here, because the city council is going to have to work with whoever gets elected.
Oh yeah. Because as a
laws still need to be enforced.
As a citizen, I want the issue that's maybe within my community, or someone breaking in my house, or this, that, and the other, or shooting guns and whatever. I want them to get, if you will, I want that to be resolved. That's pretty one way or the other.
I think everybody does.
Everybody does aspect of it. And since I'm paying the bill, if you will, we're looking for the kind of leadership that understands where we're coming from. They put it in such a format, which in essence, they're sitting in the seat, and they're supposed to respond to the solution to the issue that we, the public, are concerned with.
And I think the first step, to me at least, the first step of that is like a willingness to listen.
Yeah.
And to grow from that.
Yeah.
Like like I say, as long as you're not trying to kill me, I can listen to you, and I can grow one way or another. I might not agree with them, but if I can get a better understanding of somebody's perspective and where that perspective came from, well, maybe they just have a different way of looking at the problem. Maybe I have a different way of looking at the problem. Maybe I could explain it better.
But at the same time, John, those guidelines to whoever sits in that seat that's elected to sit in that seat, let's say a DA, or whether it be a chief of police, or whether it be a mayor, or whether it's city council, the guidelines are given to them during this process. Then they get into that seat, they're supposed to follow the guidelines. Now, if they can improve the situation while they're sitting there, that information then should be sent back through the process back to the voting person.
Feedback and thank you notes.
See, i.e., you work for the county. We got county commissioners. And it goes to the county commissioners. They look at it. The DA, let's say, comes in and makes a presentation as to why he wants change. And blah, blah, blah. And then they represent the people, too. So they look at it, then they either approve or disapprove because they're representing the people. Then once that's done, then it becomes a policy. Then it goes back to the system, if you will. So we need to really understand that more and really kick that more, because too often we get the idea that once we look at these folks sitting in these seats and think that they're our leaders. No. They're the solutions leaders to us, and then that way a voting public will get very serious during these times. They'll look at the person. But the first thing, they'll look at those issues that solves the problems, and then look at the person that's running for office to see who would be the most effective person to do their job.
Exactly. Well put. How are we on time?
Well, so far we got about 9 minutes now. We're looking for another candidate. Like I say, this is community television, and these other folks are constantly working too, knocking on doors. I think we may have.
Let me go poke my head out.
Vo's looking now.
Is he?
Yeah, he's looking now.
Okay.
And if he's there, we got someone. We don't have anyone there.
Okay.
Let's just keep talking about our piece.
Okay. Well.
Now, what about? Okay. So that's a very important piece, and we're constantly pounding on that on an ongoing basis, because we would like to have 100% of the participants.
Absolutely.
Folks need to know that these are the times that's given you. The time is here within our system to get you to elect individuals that will respond to the guidelines that has been presented to our process that talks to a solution of our concern. That's the key.
Absolutely.
And if we can get that across, boy, I tell you, we'd have a very successful leadership kind of. So because a lot of times right now we're kind of caught between. Well, fortunately for us, we're talking during the election process right now.
We're lucky in that we get these candidates and we're able to talk to them, and we're able to have conversations with the candidates, even if they're not able to make it onto the show.
That's right.
That's great. We get great insights, and we love to be able to share that with viewers. But if the viewers do want to learn more about candidates, this week there were a few candidates that have made some media impressions, and so. Commissioners Renee Gonzalez and Carmen Rubio both appeared on Your Voice, Your Vote with Steve Dean.
And these are mayoral candidates.
Yes, both those people are running for mayor. On that show, Dean asked Gonzalez why people should choose him as the next mayor, and Gonzalez answered moral clarity and leadership, and said his goal is to make Portland one of the safest cities in America. When Carmen Rubio was asked the same question, she replied, "A no drama leader focused on results." So I want to know. I would love to have Rubio on here to define what drama is. But she's interested in bringing back community policing and work in sync with other leaders to address Portland's challenges. Another media impression was by City Commissioner Mingus Maps, who is also running for mayor. He was a guest on the show. He was on
Dean.
Yes, he was on Dean also. And the reason why he wants to run for mayor, he said he vigorously assert the mayor's power and authority to serve the people of Portland, while simultaneously using the position to reset Portland's political culture to become kinder and more collaborative.
Now check this out. Just what we just got through talking about. They're given guidelines
Right.
to represent our issues,
Right.
not their issues.
Right.
So when a person's sitting in that seat, when they get in that seat, it's not no I.
Right.
It's no I did this. No. You were given guidelines to follow.
It's we.
Specifically.
Our.
And the guidelines are very specifics. You follow those guidelines. If you've got any changes to be made, that's why they have the process of folks sitting around the table having a commission meeting to talk about change.
Yes.
Which has to go back to the public, right? You got me? And then they developed, if you will, the guidelines through these same individuals, and then they vote on those changes, whether we like it or whatever.
I like it. Yeah.
But not this business, and that's the thing that really caught my eye. I'm glad you laid it out that way, because that's exactly the way they said it. There's no such thing as I.
Right.
You represent the public.
We.
You represent the we part. So when you discuss issues of your own personally, you need to put it in a format such as we. I represent the community, and I'm suggesting to the community that we may do it. We may suggest doing it this way.
Well, did all you candidates hear that? That is really great advice by Bruce Brussard, who has been involved in Oregon political scene since the 1970s. So he has learned a thing or two. Other candidates are appearing in the media. Terrence Hayes, who we hope to talk to at some point, was featured in an Oregonian article about Portland's homicide rates. Hayes, whose cousin was fatally shot by a Portland police officer in 2017, chairs the City of Portland's Focus Intervention Team Community Oversight Group. It's an all-volunteer body that makes recommendations to the police bureau on how to reduce gun violence. Another District 1 candidate, Timur Inder, was featured in the Progress Portland podcast, and they've been doing quite a few candidate interviews. I think they're up to like 3 or 4. Steph Routh was on there, Chad and a couple other people. And we should also, I'm going to find out a little bit, another interesting fellow is the Rational in Portland group. Andy Chandler is one of the leads on that. They've started doing their candidate interviews also. I think they've had 3 or 4. I'm going to make sure that information is circulated a little bit better, and we can, on our next episode, I'll find out what their schedule is and what candidates they have on there. And then for District 3 candidates, Jesse Cornett, who we hope to have on later on this afternoon here, he was the latest guest on COIN, Ken Body's Eye on Northwest Politics, and he was on the Bike Portland podcast. Other District 3 candidates that have appeared on that were Angelita Murillo and Steve Novick. I think Steve Novick was the first one.
Former city commissioner, too.
Yeah, and so, the one with the hook.
Right, oh yeah.
Which I don't understand because, prosthetics have improved quite a bit since the global war on terror, but it's a signature. And the District 4 race, interested listeners can hear Tony Morris and Olivia Clark on the Oregon Bridge Project. And there we go. Chad Likens was on the Progress Portland's podcast. And then Bob Weinstein was featured in the Northwest Examiner recently. And on the social media, one of the big things for all the candidates, there was 2 things all the candidates were commenting on, but the Portland Elections Commission's decision to lower funding caps for the city races for the small donor program. Those amounts were cut by like 65% that we spoke about on the last show. And, the purpose of the small donor election was designed to limit large donors buying elections. And if the program isn't fully funded, wealthy interests get to gatekeep which candidate voters will hear from, posted Candace Avalos. District 2 candidate Christopher Olson agreed, quote, "The lack of funding to small donors election program is the fault of the city council alone. They were told the program was underfunded. This is an attempt by those in power to keep big money in politics and undermine the voices of ethnic and political minorities," Olson tweeted. District 3 candidate Sandeep Bali, I had drinks with him on Monday, had a different take. "In the age of free mass media, you can run a campaign for free. The small donors election program is great, but it isn't a jobs program. Everybody has signed up for SDD, is still locked into donation caps, so we're playing by the same rules." I was really asking him to come on the show this Friday. I was going to give him right before Nate Vasquez.
Yeah.
And he said he wasn't ready, but I think his takes are so good. He is ready.
Well, share his thought. That's what you're doing.
That's what you're doing. I'm just trying to pull.
That's what you're doing. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay.
But it's a very Sandeep. If you're watching, this is a very inviting atmosphere. We'd love to hear from you.
That's an opinion.
Yes, we want your
from
opinion.
The public. Yeah. Okay.
And then Bob Weinstein, a candidate in District 4, posted a press release on Twitter saying, "The program has been a resounding success. Now is not the time to shortchange it or backtrack on Portland's commitment to open and accessible elections. Fully funding the small donor election program needs to be a top priority before adding millions in bureaucratic spending."
But before you move to that particular point, going to that same, we put that together. And we delegated that. We delegate that issue to the city council, who represent us. They put together the committee, the guideline, this, that, and the other, and then they got folks from our, if you will, to sit down and have a discussion about it.
Right.
And each commissioner had, I think each had 2 people that they could put on that particular committee. And then there was some had large pieces, aspect of it. So they met, okay? And then they came up with